Hey guys, this is a video response to the Eheim Everyday Fish Feeder Contest. And what I would like to do is give a little educational video on 3 of the fish feeders that I own. I want to talk about the features and benefits of each one, and I ultimately want to convince you guys that the Eheim Everyday Fish Feeder is better than the other 2 that I have. I've tried and tested all 3 of these extensively on fish and turtles, so here we go. The first one up is the FishMate fish feeder, and this is kind of a unique design in that the batteries are on the bottom. There's a hole to hook up an air pump to, and you open the top, and you have a little dial here, and there are little pegs that you can set to any time of the day you want, and you can get up to 4 feeding cycles. This is kind of a similar design to automatic timers for lights, but one thing that is kind of annoying is if you lose the pegs, you're kind of out of luck, because you can't use it, it won't work anymore. Anyways, so the little ring here comes off, and you've got like 24 chambers to add your food to, and the concept is this thing spins around, and when it gets to a certain point, it cycles your little chamber. I've used this only for fish because the turtle pellets are just a little too big to fit in here, and it was highly recommended by some of my fish hobbyist friends, but I've found that it's more hassle than it's worth, because you have to sprinkle your fish food in each compartment, and if you're feeding a mixture of foods, you have to sprinkle each of the different types of food in the little compartments, and it ends up making a giant mess. You get stuff all over the place, and I mean, it works fairly reliably, but my concern would be if you overload it, it wouldn't be able to push all of the food, and it needs to be completely level for this ring to turn. So it's fairly reliable if you set it up correctly, but it is very messy, and I found that it isn't quite worth dealing with most of the time. So that's the FishMate fish feeder. Next up is the Penn Plax Daily Double 2. And this is a drum style feeder. And the battery goes in the back. This thing kind of sits on the back of your aquarium hood, assuming you have an aquarium hood. And it has kind of 2 little legs that help support itself. My problem is I don't really have an aquarium hood. So if you have an aquarium hood and all you're doing is feeding fish, this might work for you. I think it's a fairly cheap option, but that's very apparent when you start to try to use it. First of all, I think that the design is fairly poor, because the only way to open this drum is by disconnecting 3 little tabs on the side here, and I've almost broken these tabs off a half dozen times already. I'm so scared every time I try to open it, because it's so hard to open, and it feels like it's going to break every single time. But anyways, there's some fish food in here right now, and how it works is the timer basically moves this drum, and what happens is there's like a little medicine spoon in this chamber, and it picks up food, and it turns and turns and turns, and then it dumps the food. It dumps a lot of food, and there's no way to adjust it. There's no way to adjust the amount of food you get. So your drum could be completely full, or it could be completely empty, and it's going to basically drop the same amount of food every time. And it only cycles twice a day, so daily double. You only get 2 chances to feed your fish every day, and they're evenly spaced. So chances are, if your light cycle is 12 on, 12 off, you're going to be feeding once during the day and once during the night. So half of your food isn't going to be eaten, and it's probably going to foul up your tank more than it is going to feed your fish. So that's that one. And then this is actually my favorite so far, and I'm sure the Eheim marketing team will agree with me. The Eheim Everyday Fish Feeder is really well built. It's got the little LCD screen here so you can see what you're doing. It's got 3 feeding cycles that you can set, and you can manually feed anytime you want to if you feel like it needs another feed. It's very quick, very efficient. One feature that I really love about it is how it connects to the tank. Any tank is going to have a plastic bracket, and this allows you to connect the Everyday Fish Feeder to any tank on the bracket, which is awesome, and it's especially helpful for larger tanks like these. Another feature I love is the fact that the door slides open and closed here, and you can set how wide of an opening you want, from wide open, which is great for feeding turtles and koi, to maybe half open or maybe a third open, which is better for feeding a small size flake food for fish. It has a really large drum size, so you could go away for a couple weeks and not feel bad about it, because you're going to have plenty of food. And the great thing is, if you can see on the side there, it's going to dispense the same amount of food every time until it is literally empty, which is awesome. And you compare that to this, and you've got to fill this thing like halfway full, at least halfway full, for it to even work. Whereas with the Eheim Everyday Fish Feeder, you could fill it a quarter full, however full you think you need it, and it's going to work the same every single time because of the design here. The only other thing is this comes with a built-in fan, so there's no need to hook it up to a air pump. This one doesn't connect to anything, so if your tank is really humid, your flake food is going to stick together. It's not going to come out. It's going to foul your aquarium. It's going to foul the inside of your fish feeder. This one you need to connect it to an air hose, which isn't always easy to do. You don't always have one of those laying around, but this comes with a built-in fan, so you're sure that your food is always going to stay fresh. That it's not going to stick together, and that it's going to dispense the same quantity every single time. So that's my review of these 3 fish feeders. If you guys don't own a fish feeder, I would recommend going with the Eheim. It's a little more expensive, but if you guys go to the store and pick these up, like this is so light. It's so cheap. It's made out of cheap plastic. The same thing here. This one's probably the cheapest. I would definitely stay away from this just because of the tabs. But you're paying a little bit more money, but you're definitely getting your value out of it. I can easily see this thing lasting a very long time. And I'm always happy with it when I use it and when I go away. And I realize that I already own one, but I would definitely like to. I have 3 aquariums, 3 fish feeders here. I would definitely like to get more of these Eheim Everyday Fish Feeders and retire the old ones because they just don't work for what I need. So I hope this video was helpful to anyone who is thinking about buying an aquarium or turtle fish feeder. And I hope I've demonstrated kind of the versatility and the high quality design of the Eheim Everyday Fish Feeder, and given a fair and unbiased review of these other two fish feeders that I have used. And I hope you guys will agree that the Eheim Everyday Fish Feeder is definitely the top of the line, at least when comparing these three. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful, and I hope you guys go out and buy some fish feeders. All right, see you guys later.